who would like to understand, can you lead us through the process that you go through, where you actually begin with designing on country?
Yeah, no problems. It's actually a question that I get asked quite a lot, and developers and organisations, and we've worked with, for instance, Landcom, they'll come to us and say, "Can you put forward the process?" Because it is one of those problems with designing with country that the process isn't highly sort of articulated in the documents. It expresses the desire, but doesn't necessarily express the process. And a lot of people are scared of it because it's about, I want to be respectful, but I don't know what respectful is.
Yeah.
And there's often been a lot of changing of naming of First Nations, Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander, Indigenous. What's the right words to use? And my experience has always been working with Aboriginal communities and elders and land council is to be respectful is first and foremost to ask a question and to not be afraid of asking that question. But when you go into wanting to connect with country and understand a process, it's understanding that the land council is the bureaucratic arm of the Indigenous community, and they are there to represent and uphold certain outcomes and review certain things. But a member of the land council is not necessarily a member of the local community and the local nation or tribe. And the most important place to start is to connect with the elders. And that way, then they also are able to communicate it to the rest of the local Aboriginal community about what's happening. And it can be really sort of simple things about the preservation of a space, because this is where we used to gather. And those trees are really important because of, or, there are sacred things and scar trees, and often you'll have AHIP land, it's had Aboriginal heritage on it, and there's flint or there's certain significance on the land. But that's also a very bureaucratic sort of review of the site as opposed to the spiritual and cultural connection. So the process is really to ask the elders first. Then you may engage with the community in almost like a community consultation process where you actually ask questions, provide feedback, positive and negative, and navigate all of that. And then try to discern something and articulate it into a document that then goes back to the elder to actually review and understand and check. So the process it's very inclusive and it takes a bit of time. And the land council is also involved with that in different layers. But understanding that the process is first to ask, not to tell. I think that's probably a big one. A lot of people come in and say, well, we're going to do something here. This is what we want to do. Can you give us the tick on it? And that's not the approach.